This is I Am Change podcast. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. There is zero success without change. Be the change you want to see. Believe, focus, achieve. Kiki Mordi, a Nigerian journalist, goes undercover for BBC Africa Eye over a 9-month period and does a documentary titled Sex for Grades, which sought to investigate the phenomenon of sexual harassment in universities and expose atrocities by lecturers across the two major universities in West Africa. That is, University of Lagos, Nigeria, and University of Ghana in Accra. It is a problem that is widespread across the two institutions, and this has caused an uproar. To discuss this menace, I have with me Mr. Kletsaint Akor, public policy expert, Engineer Michael Opara, Managing Director, Aldofam, Nigeria Limited, Dr. Emmanuel Akor, Management Consultant and Public Affairs Commentator. And I am Joyce Umetu, your host. Welcome to I Am Change podcast. Alright, thank you all for joining me on I Am Change podcast.
Thank you very much for having us on your platform.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Okay, so sex for grades. A lot of people say this has been going on for ages and are wondering how this documentary, I'm sure we've all seen the documentary by BBC I, how the documentary is going to put an end to it. Let me start with you, Mr. Kletsaint. What is your reaction?
Well, I would like to appreciate BBC. I'm in the media industry. I know what it takes to do an effective investigative journalism. I would say it's a big plus, and this has actually exposed what has been going on in our various institutions over the years. I think for the institutions it's an eye-opener, and for those that have been victims over the years that can speak, I believe that cumulatively the BBC documentary and those that were featured have given a voice to this victim. It's time for us to have take-homes from this documentary,
yes,
and find a way to collectively address this abnormal, this inhuman act that have been existing in our various institutions.
Okay, Dr. Emmanuel, I beg your pardon. In line with the sex for marks topic, what can you say constitutes sexual harassment?
So when you ask me what constitutes, you say
sexual harassment.
Yeah, sexual harassment comes in different forms.
Yes.
So if you talk about sexual harassment, I want to take it from the angle of the documentary.
Absolutely.
Yes. That is sexual harassment to its peak.
Okay.
Now, from the first, if you look at the video, it started with an undercover.
Yes.
That's not even from BBC, from the lecturer himself. He started with an undercover using religion as a base.
Absolutely.
You heard him say, "Let us pray."
Yes.
Giving that comfort to the lady, which is wrong in itself, because it's a misdirection to the lady. And at the end of the day, it changed the mood. Now you are asking a lady for sex, which is wrong.
That's right.
So using any mood, any measure to go about it is totally wrong.
Right.
Now the lady will see it from a different point, which we saw on the video.
Yeah.
She saw it as she was comfortable, offering, expecting a good, will I say, an advice from someone which is higher than her in terms of education and age.
Right.
But at the end, it changed to something request, which is an harassment to her, because that is not what she is going for. She's going for admission. So it's an harassment. It's not to her consent.
That's right.
So that's sexual harassment.
Okay, Mr. Engineer Emeka,
Alright.
what are your reactions on this? And please tell us, are the students, do you think the victims are, or the ladies are victims or accomplices?
Thank you very much for this opportunity given to me. It's both ways. Okay. It's both ways. They are both the victims and also the accomplished. We all went through the four walls of a university.
Right.
And like Mr. Kletsaint said, it's something that's been happening over the years.
Yeah.
And we've had victims, like we saw in the video, who, like the lady said, have been through this, have not been able to speak out.
That's right.
Now, one, maybe they were scared of the lecturer. Two, they were scared of what society will say.
That's right.
And as well, they know that within Africa, the African context, they will say, you are the one who seduced him. In a way that you want to say let me say, they'll say you seduced him to make him make such an approach, maybe by your way of dressing,
right,
or by your mood of, talking to him.
Okay.
But I will feel like they are victims in the sense that admission is something most people want to, get into school. Now, most of our lecturers take advantage of this situation. I've had a couple of persons, names not to be mentioned for confidentiality's sake, who have found themselves in this same kind of situation where they've been denied admission several times, and to an extent they don't mind going the extra mile by giving them what they want, if this is what they want.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then they are also accomplished in the sense that most of them willingly give themselves for this. They give themselves in the sense that our ladies these days, to an extent, are also being a bit, should I say, lazy. Some people get their scores in their jam score, maybe they are not up to the required score for admission.
Did you just say ladies? How about the guys?
Let me say, okay, the guys, or let me just say generally. Generally, sorry for using ladies, for stereotyping. Generally, people who seek admission, most of them don't have the required score to an extent. And when they go for this admission, these lecturers see it and use it as a yardstick to request for sex from some of them, for the ladies. Then they have no choice because they know they don't have that required score. So they say, okay, fine. Because most of these ladies also have boyfriends. Most of them have been exposed to sexual life from a very early age. So for them, doing this is like it's nothing to them. So they are willing to take it and give me what I want. So I see it in both angles, both the victim and accomplished. Some people are innocent. They came with a good heart. I need an admission. They have the required scores. They have everything needed for it. Yeah. And then you find out that most of these lecturers take advantage and say, okay, look, I can still help you out if you can do this for me. Apart from the admission side of it, students generally are also in the high institutions being molested or harassed sexually by lecturers. We've had a couple back then in school who were also victims of this, but they wouldn't go public for the fear of what the society would say. So they try to keep it to themselves and they go through psychological and mental torture until they graduate. So it's both ways, let me say that.
Okay, so we've seen the swift reaction by the university suspending, first of all, the lecturer, and then I don't know if we heard about the cold room where these lecturers, or where these atrocities were perpetrated, where they take the students to. So the cold room has also been shut down. The cold room is actually meant for meetings. That's what I read. It's actually meant for meetings, and it was used to perpetrate this crimes. Are these steps the university, these steps which the university has taken, are they satisfactory, or do they need to go a little bit further? Let's talk to you, Mr. Clay.
Okay, I think in this part of the world we are mostly reactive. Everybody in the world is reacting to the BBC documentary.
That's right.
But most of all, even where this thing has occurred, the documentary captures incidences in Ghana and Nigeria.
Yes.
And from both ends of the divide, people are just reactive. I've not seen anyone come out with an articulated measure of how this can be addressed collectively.
Right.
And I think that is what we should do now. The BBC documentary, I want to look at it as a metaphor Okay. It has become academic, something we can refer to. But like I said earlier, what are we going to take home from it? It's a bad thing. And when the bad things happen, you create solutions so that it doesn't happen again. What are the measures that the government is going to take? What are the measures that the institutions are going to take? What are the measures that we as individuals, as parents, are going to take to educate our children that are going to school? Yeah. I believe that the society, especially the Nigerian society, I'm talking collectively as government, should be blamed for this. Because like I said, there are no laws. There are no laws that give such protection. I don't want to say laws. I said there are no platform that give such victim the opportunity to go to say this happening. You know, when you want to address this, you set up a platform where there will be. Let me talk about solutions now. You set up a platform where there will be orientation for every jambite that step into that school, and it's also set up an not a parallel system that is collectively a joint collective parallel system with the police, with the school authority, and with civil society, and empower that system that this lady, if she's harassed, without the school, she can sit redress with these people and they can duly protect her. Right? So when that is established, that girl that is probably in JS2 now, in the next 5-7 years, she's going to write jam and get to university. We know from secondary school that no, when anybody wants to harass me, you understand, this is what I need to do. Then cautiously within the internal organ of the school, they should be able to set up an investigative system. Sometimes the school on their own tries it out, like what BBC did, and sent students to just act in that format and see if they can be able to cop that. When there are 1, 2, 3 culprits, you understand, that are actually jailed at the end of the day. And I want the civil society to follow this up, to make sure that every of these people, let it not be the usual Nigerian narrative, where there's a media sensation, everybody sees them on TV, then tomorrow the guy becomes your neighbor. And you're wondering, come on, I thought this guy was the guy that was involved in this, or the guy just secluded and go to another school, maybe Polytechnic, and become the dean or become, head of faculty or whatever you can say. So they should look at this as a case study to be able to formulate ideas and initiative that can be able to drive that process. And I'm also giving it to Change Platform. You should not stop here by getting our opinions. You should set an agenda that people should start discussing about solution. After we've talked about these issues here, we should start talking to people about solution. People should start bringing ideas on how this thing, and of course, we put it together. And I think there will be a critical headway. I don't know. I digress a bit. I don't know whether this answers your question.
Alright, thank you very much for that. Let's talk about Kiki Mordi. She's the undercover journalist that embarked on this mission. She has started receiving threats to her life. And let's not forget that she was also a victim of sexual molestation. She's actually a dropout from school. One of her lecturers didn't just let it work for her, and she had to drop out from school. And now people are saying that they think it wasn't wise to put her name and her face out there. Maybe in the videos her face would have been blurred or her voice distorted and all of that. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Doctor? You want to say something about that? Okay.
Yeah, let me take that before it goes to Dr. Emmanuel, so I don't lose my thought on that.
Right,
first of all, I would say that when it comes to this kind of milestone project globally, you must put a face to it. You must be natural about it. In documentary, this is a documentary drama. In classifying documentary, what they did was a documentary drama. And it can only feel the impact when you have, there are iotas of sincerity. You give the human part of it, and that's what Kiki did. I can tell you, if you go and Google several of this kind of documentary, you don't do it in isolation. You put a face to it. First of all, she did it for humanity. She's lived out a cause. Probably if this was, I'm not saying that, if this was what she was born for, she will be proud that if anybody tomorrow, you understand, hurt her, she should be proud, and we're going to be proud of her that she put this. You don't do that in big. So we need more courageous people like you come out and put their face to this. We must give it a human face. If it's assault, we'll take it for granted. But now there's somebody that's a victim that have come out and said, I'm going to take this course. So it's a big sacrifice for humanity, and I believe that she should also be awarded.
That's right. Dr. Emmanuel.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Towing the line that we just finished with. We've seen movies on this a lot. But I want to take it even a little deeper when maybe I won't go religious.
It's fine. It's go religious. Yes.
But we talk about Lazarus and the rich man.
Right.
And what was said is that even though we send Lazarus back, they won't change. They have prophets, they have this, they have that.
Okay.
Now, if you look at it, there are still people that will not believe. They will say maybe it's acted. So if you don't put a face to it, there will be that insinuation or assumption that maybe it's just a friction of somebody's imagination.
Now she hopes to go back to school.
Now that is where I'm going.
Yes.
That is where I'm going.
Okay, go ahead.
What would be a guide for her? There should be from the beginning, if you're setting up this kind of investigative journalism or any project, so you look at the risk involved and you try to mitigate against it. There's no how you tell me that there will be no risk during, before, and after. Now, during the documentary, they had security around and she had to go and come.
Yeah.
That was during. So after this whole drama, what happens? Is she going to be within the same society as in the country, or she's going out to school somewhere else?
Yeah.
Because there's this way you provide that mitigating stuff that it will not be okay. Yeah, she's here. She might be seen here, but admitting her into any of the university will be difficult. It won't be difficult, but you know, there's this stigmatization that will go around.
Absolutely.
That's the lady that did this, that's the lady that did that. You know, she will be scared of being victimized somehow. But if there are other provisions that, okay, now you've done this, you've exposed this in Nigeria, you can school anywhere apart from Nigeria. Yes, they give her scholarship, she goes somewhere else, school there, she's not known. Even when she's known, they say, yes, you are courageous enough.
Yeah.
There are universities that will beat their chest. Come, we'll admit you and we'll give you all the protection outside the shores, even within. So those are the areas we should look at. Yes, threat will come.
Yeah.
You can't run away from threat. But what do you do with this threat? Threat to life, threat to her own individual. But what are the things put on ground to forestall or to mitigate against this threat? That is where my own base is on. So providing this will help her to go to her school and give it some few years. It will not only be academic, it will become a moral to everybody in the society. Now people will watch it. He talks about students that are in maybe grade 1 or so that intend to go to university. By the time they are in grade 5 or 6 and they want to go to university, they'll be watching this and be saying, yes, this is what. This will now be used as a training document.
That's true.
For them that are coming in. This is what happened, this is how it went, this is what you expect. Right. So these are the things that I want us to look at so that we'll not just follow, just go with the media sensation and it ends there.
Yes.
Let's take it further. Look out for a solution. What would be the best way to handle it? You talked about, you know, closing down the cold room. I think that is just an immediate or a first-hand solution.
Yeah.
The cold room has its it was created for.
Yes.
Facebook was created for socialization and interaction, but it's being used now wrongly by different individuals and groups propagating the wrong things. Yeah. Would you say that you close down Facebook? No, you won't close down Facebook. But that's you right. Look at other means, other ways to improve the cold room. What is it? What is it for? Is it there's no glass? You create something, but the cold room closing it, I think it's just a first measure.
Okay, Engineer Emeka. So one of the lecturers that was investigated, actually the one from Ghana, the University of Ghana, says he's going to sue BBC for defamation. What are your thoughts on this?
On what grounds is he going to sue them for? That the truth was being said? That is what you're going to ask? Because there was a documentary, there's a video showing what happened. So what are you suing them for? They didn't cook it up. They didn't just bring up the story to say this is what is happening in the universities. So I don't think he has any grounds to really sue them, because I'm trying to find out what proof does it have. Because we are suing someone to court, the first thing you need to get is evidence or proof to say this doesn't happen. So except if he has his own proof which no one knows about. Right. But if he doesn't, I don't see any ground for why you should sue them, because they have their own evidence, which is the video which this girl just brought up. Right. So I don't think he has any moral grounds to really sue them.
Okay, Mr. Kletsaint, earlier you said the school authorities can also, when we're talking about measures to curb this menace, you said they can also maybe try to investigate, send out students to investigate. Do you think the school authorities are unaware that these things are happening? And okay, let's talk about the cold room. Do you think they are unaware that the cold room is actually used to perpetrate these crimes? This guy is a senior lecturer.
Yeah, I would want to refer to what Dr. Emmanuel said.
Yes.
That what are the reasons for setting up institutions? For students to meet lecturers and for them to learn.
Yes.
But that very fundamental reason for setting up has been abused.
Right.
So what will be the countermeasure to readdress that and take that institution back? There has to be a system, an anti-deprivative situation set up to address such abnormalities. So it's less for the school authority now, because as a leader, as a VC, as the vice chancellor of that university, the onus is on you to make sure that the university function by its objective. That every of those students are protected, you are the chief security officer of that institution, that every child that comes there be able to benefit and pass through the school and become the best that they are. But if that is not being lived into that, I think every person from the VC to every lecturer should be held responsible. If it was in other clime, I would want to say this on air, that the VC of both universities would have resigned.
That's right.
They would have resigned to show that indeed we failed in our primary responsibility. But in this climate where we take a lot of things for granted, people will just go on and do that. So first of all, if I want to, you give me the opportunity to head a panel in Ghana or Nigeria, first of all, I will recommend, you understand, that the VC of that school be taken out or be exchanged so that it becomes a lesson. So if you go there as a VC, as a vice chancellor, you understand, you will set up measures to make sure that under your leadership, this does not happen. If there were code rooms that exist, probably the VC would just hear it in the gist and thought that maybe they're just saying that. He didn't give time to it, but this has exposed that. You understand, the code room.
The documentary also exposed that there's a club of lecturers.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I want to also refer to what Dr. Emmanuel said.
Right.
Do you now shut down every club? The club in the schools are part of the social system of the school. It's what the club is used for. So let me put up some ideas for the vice chancellor. It's to set up moles around those certain places that you assume that they are there, so you can get the first-hand information. That is the responsibility of leadership. The buck rests on your table. If the students are raped, it rests on your table. If the lecturer abuses the student, the buck rests on your table. You are the leader. So they should take a bigger share of the blame.
So Emmanuel is itching to say something.
I want to react to two things.
All right.
One, he talked about that the VC should resign.
Yes.
I think that's a hard measure. You will not say the VC should resign. But looking at the documentary, the lady was coming from the angle of being a victim. And the VC, yes, being aware, is working. You don't know whether he's put measures around to forestall this. You don't know about that. So calling for his resignation, I think, is early. That is one. Then
I think what he was trying to say is the VC should voluntarily resign.
That's on that
due to the fact that he has failed.
Yes. No, he has not failed. The lecturer has failed. The lecturer involved has failed. You cannot use that lecturer to assume that the whole school has failed. That is a wrong assumption. So if you look at it, measure one lecturer to the school. The school is bigger than the lecturer. Now is to tell the VC, yes, set up, I will agree with him, set up a system that can monitor this act, because you cannot say it doesn't exist. Now I'll give you a typical example. We talk about morals. This is one of the morals that we're talking about. If you go to the banking system, they provide service, and they are very keen in your relationship, how you provide this service. And the first thing is you must be polite, humble, and courteous to your customer, no matter how angry you are. Now, the banking system set up this system that they have cameras of people that come in as people that want service, but they are monitoring you. They go back and play that video. Sometimes you don't even know. That is what he's requesting for the university. That they should have malls. They call them malls. You have them within the system. They act as if they are within. Give a good example again. When we're in the university, we have security personnel that are students. They get information and pass it up to the appropriate authority. And from there they act. They should have malls within this system too, that the lecturers, within the lecturers, how do we do it? This is ours, yes? It's what they call ours. Even for students, they will cover themselves. Students cover themselves even more than the lecturers. But there are malls within that will figure it out, and they will find solution to it. If the lecturer is found wanting, they can now sanction the lecturer from within. So that's the system is faulty. The VC should just voluntarily resign. I think it's way too much. That's my take.
Okay, Engineer Emeka, what are your thoughts on this?
My thought is not too far from what the both of them have said.
Alright.
This so-called cold room, I'm sure it must be a nickname or an alias to that place.
The code name,
yes. It's more like a place where lecturers go sit out, relax, just like the officers' mess.
Right.
But most of them have chosen to use it for their own, selfish interest and for other things.
That's right.
And I believe that, like you said, setting moles, yes, that's one measure. But these lecturers themselves, to remember, these are intellectuals. They are not stupid. They also know that such things will definitely be in place.
Right.
Then for you to be a member of such a place, of the cold room, they know themselves.
They know themselves.
So if they see a new face, which is not part of the cold room, they wouldn't attend to you.
That's right.
So we should all also have this at the back of our mind. The VC, of course, would have known about all this, and he would have put his mercenaries in place to checkmate what they are doing. But lecturers are lecturers. Alright?
Right.
They understand themselves. They understand themselves. It's so unfortunate that maybe this came out as a video, as a documentary.
Right.
If it just happened within, they would have sorted it out within themselves, and nobody will hear about it. But because it came out as a video, their hands are now tied.
That's right.
They can't do much. They can't help him. So he has to be the sacrificial lamb for the rest of them. They know themselves. Okay? But the issue of setting in moles, yes, they can think about that. They can also think about having CCTV cameras around to set up and have a monitoring room where such things have been monitored. But our system in this country is, so many things go wrong, and they can still play around with it and hide it.
Right.
This is a society where poverty is a serious issue, and people are ready to take any amount of money to cover up any situation. The VC must have tried all these things we are trying to highlight here right now, but he has found out that he's still failing. Because why? The lecturers themselves know. There's always a Senate meeting. They also have their own insiders who work close with the VC. So whatever you're thinking about, they also are aware. So we should also consider all this aspect of it. But I think the way to check this starts with just we the parents.
Okay.
For me, that's my own opinion. You get me? Because no matter the number of mercenaries you set in place, they will still do what they want to do. But I think it's our duty as parents to enlighten our children, to let them know that such things are wrong. no matter who makes the approach to you, no matter his position, no matter his role in the school, be bold enough, even if you can't talk to anyone, talk to the parents, and we'll take it up from there. So I think that is, for me, that is the most important machinery to be put in place. Parents should be educated on how to speak with their children. Although I know that children's attitude in school is, you can't really monitor it as a parent, but I will pray, ask that they should be bold enough to talk to their parents.
That's right.
If there's any approach from anyone sexually harassing them for admission or for whatsoever, for marks or whatever in school, they should be bold enough to talk to their parents first or to their guardians. Okay. They can take it up from there.
All right, thank you very much.
I want to add to what you just said with regards to solutions.
Right.
I think it's a moral decadence. So, looking at it from all angles, from the student part, from the lecturers, from the home front.
Right.
He just mentioned the home front. We should try and educate our children, get close to our children, make them our friends, so that they can tell us some things.
Absolutely.
Now, the doctor or professor that was on the video, he said, "Father, imagine his own son or daughter trying to tell him this. What will be his reaction? Ask yourself." That's another part. So we should look at it from our own parents too. They should be a role model.
Role models, yeah.
We should try and be role models to children and to younger ones. How do you become role model? You need to look at the morality itself and keep to it.
Right.
Now in institutions, they have training and retraining, development. It doesn't matter how you've gone in the ladder, but we should remind ourselves. Some things that we say or we do, it's just reminder. Some training that you go or you attend is just a reminder, telling you a different ways of how this could come. That should happen both on the student part and on the lecturer's part as well. So we should put that into maybe curriculum, or I don't know how that's just creates an avenue where students can be educated on that, lecturers can be educated on that, and the training continues. So I think that should, then we should move more. Even what you're doing is very good. It's encouraging because it goes to everywhere. You can only know that it's starting here, but you don't know where it will go. BBC just knew that they started somewhere, but it's wild. So let this continue. More of this should come. There should be more discussion. There should be more gathering of people talking about this. It will sink into our own understanding more.
Thank you very much for that. Mr. Kletsaint, your final words.
Okay, well, I would like to still end on the note that a society is a mirror of the people in the society. If we want a better university, we should all look at ourselves.
Yes.
We are the men in the mirror. It starts with us. So I won't want to completely blame the lecturer that did that. In a more human way, I think he needs help right now. He needs help.
Yeah, I even heard he attempted suicide.
He needs help right now. We need him to champion an advocacy against this. The word will hear him. I used to do this thing, but now I'm leading a cause. I believe that it will erase every of the bad thing he has done, because he was the one leading such thing before. Now he has changed. If I'm to cancel him, I would say now he needs our help more. We don't need to throw the baby out of the bad water. We should rather convert him to lead an advocacy against this art, and it will just sell well for the society and for all of us. I want to commend your platform. I want to commend the BBC and of course my co-speakers.
So what you're saying that you will be the Lazarus sense?
I can make some change. Then it's not that they won't hear now. They will hear it.
Alright, thank you all for your time. It's been nice having you all on our platform.
Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with Mr. Kletsaint Akor, public policy expert, Engineer Michael Opara, Managing Director, Aldofam Nigeria Limited, Dr. Emmanuel Akor, Management Consultant and Public Affairs Commentator, on the phenomenon of sex for grades in institutions based on the documentary by BBC Africa Eye. Good values begins at home. Although they are reinforced in schools, it is important that kids are taught good values before they start school. Thank you for listening. I'm Joyce Umetu.